Okay. So first, a little housekeeping thing. We have a little bit of a time conflict, because maybe having women's cheer on Sunday nights. So we have to switch another night. We're gonna work in which details. Would anybody be okay to have it on Tuesday nights? Would anybody be a problem for anybody? Yeah. All right, listen, I don't care.
Tuesday, I'm not sure, but don't do it.
Well, we gotta see if we find another night to do it. So,
No
maybe
matter
for-
what night you do it on, I'll only know like 20 minutes before.
Same here.
right,
Yeah,
Okay.
so
fine. Okay. We're continuing talking about father's role in raising difficult and challenging kids. Many of us were those difficult and challenging kids growing up. And I've spoken to some difficult and challenging kids, and interesting, the advice they give me on how they wish they were raised. So we talk a little bit about two things, two major continuous, ADHD and ODD.
What is ODD?
Oppositional defiant disorder.
Oh, wait a second, I've heard about that. But it's, I don't know, what I've heard about ODD, it just seems,
We'll get into, hang in there.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Yeah, we'll get-
You want to take notes? There's pen and paper, you want to take notes. I recommend taking notes, because we have a lot of information tonight. So first of all, before we get into discussion of ADHD and ODD, we gotta get some basic ideas on the hand. First of all, we should know there are no perfect tatis. And you can be imperfect and still be a terrific tati. There are no perfect kids, but they can still be terrific kids. So based on that, everyone's gonna talk about different things and ways to raise kids and the factors involved. And you're gonna feel like, oh my gosh, that's me. It's like it's okay. We're all in the same kind of boat. We're all struggling with imperfections and trying to have the best we can for our families. So I got that. Not to worry too much about the fact to say, oh my, I did that wrong. That's whatever has to be done. Okay, so starters, when kids come to the world, before understanding ADHD and ODD, let's get a picture with the background, what's going on with the kids. No one comes to the world with a clean slate. We all come in with stuff. It comes in, we all have baggage. All kids are born with baggage. We have intrauterine messages. The kids hear the mother. If it was going on, they hear things. It's interesting. They had this, I saw a study many years ago. They took kids and they tried something. They took kids listening to certain kind of music when they were still in utero. Mothers were pregnant, listening to music, and when the kids were born, when the music was played, they would pay attention. They'd stop crying and look around, or they would kind of all of a sudden hear unfamiliar sounds. We know that kids are adopted. They don't hear the mother's voice anymore. They get very upset. A lot of times adopted kids struggle a lot. Because they don't have that familiar sound of their mother. We know when kids are brought up in a lot of dysfunction, a lot of screaming and yelling in the family when the mother's pregnant. The kids hold on to that energy. It impacts the child.
When there's a lot of screaming, there's what?
While the child is still in utero, screaming and yelling, panic and fear affect the child even before it's born. We know this from Chassidus, that if they would tell you the say Tillim. Well, the say Tillim is for the children. The hear Tillim, it elevates the soul, it elevates them. Something happens to them in here. In the Gemara, we're going to go to listening Shira Torah, because it affects the child. They hear things, they grow. And they're in that environment. They feel, and that's where they feel like they belong. Who was a Tana that was mother brought him to the base medrash every day, and when day one, and always happened the yarmulke on his head. And that was keep him from going, as he was told that his situation was Nachman. Yeah, okay,
I trust him.
I'll take your word for it. But the mice is that he was apparently had a challenge of anger or something like that, and to quell it, they from day one put him in the base medrash. It seems to work. So we also have generational stresses to go down. We know this from the Shoah, from the people who are survivors from the Holocaust. Their kids and grandkids or great grandkids are still experiencing some stuff that went on to their parents and grandparents and great grandparents, because it's generational
PTSD.
PTSD, generational stresses, and it goes right on through. So you know what the mother eats affects the child. Mother smokes, has alcohol. All these things affect the child in utero. You have genetics. Kids come with genetic issues. Some kids come in very smart. Some kids come in not so smart. Come in strong. Come in weak. Sometimes nice. Sometimes whatever they come in there. Like Rambam talks about in Hilchos Deis, the different midos of people. They have different natural inclinations, right? Natural tendencies. So we know that we're born with genetic tendencies for personalities. But that's not the only factor. We have identical twins. For instance, by schizophrenia. This is really fascinating. Kids are schizophrenic, which is it's quite a machla. But identical twins are separated, and they are identical twins. One may have schizo, one may not have schizoaffective disorder. It's not all genetics. There's something else besides genetics that affects the kids. Nutrition, environment, whatever's going on, a lot of things happen with kids. So we have a lot of things affecting kids. We talk about like Gilgulim, the Gilgulim issue. What happens? Where's their journey in this world? All these things. A child comes in, and this is day one. They're dealing with this stuff, and now they're coming out of that warm, fuzzy kind of floaty place, and they're in the air, and then all the trauma and the cream. Okay, fine, but that's what kids have to go through. But no one's born as a clean slate. Now, next thing is, any questions so far? Is it pretty obvious?
No, it's pretty obvious. It's intro, basically.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Right?
Yeah, I'll dive more deep, I guess.
We're getting there. We'll get real deep real soon. Now, kids have a need. Kids do something that we all do. They want to survive. And survival means what can they get away with? Now, here comes the hard part. And this is where beginning of behavioral problems seems to start. Because kids want to survive. They want to thrive. They want to be heard, want to be recognized. They want to be held. They need all these things. And they'll do whatever it takes to get what they need. And they have no shame. They have no problem nudging, crying, crouching. They have no problem, no bullshit doing any of that stuff. So kids will do whatever it takes. Now, here's where it starts. How to respond to them, how they respond to us. The response is now how is what they need. Look, kids need to feel loved. Some feel loved by being fed, some feel loved by being held or talked to, sing to. Everyone has their own love language, but they need to feel loved. I personally feel that all kids need to be held. Even though they push away, they still need to be held. Being held is a very important thing, and their fathers hugging them is very, very powerful for the fathers. When the fathers hug the kids, hugging and kids are secure and they feel safe that way. Boys mean to wrestle with them, whatever it takes to get that physical contact. You got to have that contact. So kids need this. Based on this need, now they start acting in a way to get their needs met or resolve the inner conflict inside of them. They're now starting to challenge you. And around the age of 2, it becomes really apparent. That's when you start disciplining. You thought for, but disciplining kids around the age of 2 starts, and it becomes apparent. And
what changes at the age of 2 that they all of a sudden start feeling a lack of love?
no, they start getting.
It's cognitive.
They start behaving in different ways. Their behavior changes.
Mm-hmm.
They need love. They look for cry and scream until you hold them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get more self-aware at 4,
Self-awareness.
and then they get more self-aware, in different stages, and maximum at 25.
I mean, how many babies start crying until someone takes them and holds them? All of a sudden they stop crying. From down, they start crying again. They'll tell you they need to be held. To be held, you can't, no choice. And if 2 you start, enough, come on, he just wants attention. Yeah, he needs attention. Right, he needs attention. They're not asking for nothing, they need attention.
Yeah.
It's hard, some kids are more demanding than other kids. And I think it's really challenging. You have one kid that means a lot, so much he can't give anything to anybody else. The kid just takes it all. How do you handle that? And that shows up in the kids. You got to find ways to do it. We'll get into all these details soon. So, but then what happened? Then you have a dynamic beginning. Okay, please don't cry. I'll do this for you. Don't. And you start giving it to kids. They learn if they make the sound, make a face, all of a sudden the parents start dancing around that face, around that sound. Now you get a dynamic forming. Now,
Dependency, I guess.
the brain, a child can only respond in certain ways to his life, internal and external stresses. Can only respond in certain ways. There's a lot of overlap between all these disorders we're going to talk about, ADD, ADHD, and ODD. How do kids act when they're uncomfortable, internal and external? How do kids act? Give me a list.
Cry, scream, yell.
Okay,
hit.
take, take them, let's go. Cry, scream, yell, what else? What else kids do?
Misbehave,
What's that?
misbehave.
Yeah, get attention, what else? What do kids do when they are uncomfortable?
They'll make the situation more uncomfortable.
Yeah, they really get on your skin. What else kids do?
Like if a kid feels embarrassed, he'll start acting like an idiot, like much worse than he wasn't, like, you know.
Yeah.
Go deeper.
What else can kids do if they feel embarrassed?
Hit.
I know
Say
my,
hit,
my,
hit,
my
hit.
daughter over, my daughter over Shabbos got embarrassed and just for like 10 minutes, she just sat there like that.
They retreat. Or hide, right, there's some form. What else? And they may ignore you. Right, ignore. That's like the
Shut
worst.
down.
What's that?
Shut down.
Shut down. What else kids do? When they're uncomfortable. What do they do? They're uncomfortable. What do they do? They're uncomfortable.
They become restless.
Yeah, they get restless. They get nudgy. They get hyper. But what else can you do when they're uncomfortable?
Hit.
They hit,
Yeah, bother other kids.
bother the kids,
Of their parents.
bother their parents. And one of the things kids do that we actually, a lot of adults do the same thing. We get uncomfortable, we get nervous or upset. What do? Space out. Does just mind numbing things, just mind numbing,
So numbing.
whatever it takes. I want to numb my mind. Some kids get into addictive behaviors. Some kids get OCD, start picking, or start, eating too much, whatever, just to control their anxiety. Because nothing worse than inner anxiety. It's a horrible feeling for anxious inside. So these symptoms are very similar to ADHD or ODD. They're very similar. They're very similar symptoms, kids. The difference is with ADHD, kids are distracted, hyper, spacey, but they're also the gifted ones. The ADHD kids, those are the ones. I never forget. My first introduction to this many years ago was a friend of mine's upsharing for his kid, and an old teacher came in from Philadelphia. He was like been teaching like 60 years. It's probably ADHD. He says, "I'll tell you something about ADHD." He says, "I'm teaching for 60 years or 50 years, long time." And he said, "I noticed there's some kids in class, the good students, studious to their homework, paid attention, the really easy ones to teach. And there's the guys looking out the window, reading stuff, tracing on notes, fidgeting around, But the kids get older, what he noticed was, the kids are nice kids, nice families, but the winners, movers and shakers, the ones who achieved life, ADHD kids. They're the ones who really had all the juice. So those are the treasure, those are the pearls. Those are the pearls. And we forget because they're annoying, but they're the pearls, they're the gems. The brain's working faster and brain is more active and involved. And they have to ask the questions of why, what's going on. And they're the nudges. They're the nudgy ones. They're the annoying ones. They are the best ones. They are the gems. So the difference is with ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, is also known as the obnoxious defiant disorder. The kids seemingly almost intentionally obnoxious. They become actually, besides defying authority as a shita, they argue over everything. And they can, the worst part of ODD kids, they become violent and destructive. Then you got a problem. Because they're the ones on the extreme end of that, violent and destructive, that's where the problem is. And so ODD and ADHD have a lot of overlap. On the extremes, though, the ADHD kids are problem ones if they're impulsive, uncontrolled impulsivity. Is really getting that's a dangerous sign. And kids can violent destructive is another dangerous sign. Those two signs are the danger signs you need medical attention. Okay, so let's take a minute. ADHD symptoms. What's ADHD look like?
Hyperactive disorder, not paying attention.
Sorry, I spaced out.
Space out. Right,
Look, a squirrel.
right, right. And ODD,
Destructive, obnoxious, defiant.
and they can get
Like, where do you draw the line? You can see a lot of ADHD behaviors
presenting as oppositional.
Right,
Where does it become that, no, this is oppositional and not ADHD?
it doesn't even matter. Because the only time it matters if you reach the point of violence and destruction.
No, even then, is the diagnosis really gonna help you? No.
Well, no, then you get medical attention.
I'm saying that the medicines are very similar, but it's not like you're gonna treat it that different.
Well, I'm not going medical treatment. The medical treatment is a very complex issue.
The point is, it's not, you're treating them similarly.
Well,
It's treated differently?
they're treated differently. Medication.
So
for
is
ADHD.
violence and destruction the answer? Or-
I'm sorry, what's that?
Is violence and destruction the differentiation or?
That's what the problem is. Everything else doesn't matter. It's just what's going, the rest can be controlled and dealt with on almost on a cognitive level from the parents. But on a much deeper level, with the extremes, ADHD with impulsive behavior, which can be very destructive, OD, which can be destructive or violent behavior. And that is all dealt with without drugs. It's all done. We'll talk about those things, options in a few minutes. So, another thing about ODD, they become spiteful and vengeful. That's the scares. They really get vengeful. Like they seek revenge. I'll get you for that. I'll never, and they mean it and they do it. So that's the other problem with ODD. Okay. Causes.
Causes of
Now,
it?
the causes of these two conditions, there's some genetics involved, genetics, but usually, even if it's genetics, it's triggered by something else in the environment. Here's what gets hard, is we're gonna sweat a little bit, we're gonna sweat on this one a little bit, because we're all guilty of some of these things. All guilty of some of these things. Biggest issue, talking any psychologist you want, the biggest issue of all is discord in the family. Nothing is more harmful to a child than the parents having discord. Not that you disagree, but anger, yelling, cursing.
Hmm.
Really, that discord is so destructive to a child that you're guaranteed to have a problem with a child. Guaranteed. Because you can't go up normal with that kind of stuff.
In other words, you're saying there could be genetic predispositions to these things, but these things could be triggers.
Correct.
Make the child that could have dormant ADHD, but now when seeing the parents like this, it could exacerbate it to trigger it to be come out.
Yeah, or it may just trigger it. It could just be set off a chemical change in their brain, and they no longer have reserves. They become this because that's only they survived their parents' discord.
You're saying that even if they don't have this predisposition, that discord can actually create it.
Yes. Discord can actually create ADHD and ODD. And it's so important in the educational field, you see children with this kind of issues. And there's certain tip-offs, there's problems in the family. And the biggest tip-offs is, question I always ask my patients, especially kids, I've always asked the question,
You hug your child?
no, when's your bedtime? Bedtime for children, one of the signs of a stable home, not the only sign, and not a sine qua non, but one of the signs of a stable home is that it's a solid bedtime for children. Need a bedtime. Because they're tired, how are they gonna function? And being held late because there's some discrimination going in the family. So it's a whole dynamic. Bedtime's a big thing. Bedtime is a huge thing for kids.
So it doesn't matter if it's late or early, the fact that you have it is the key.
Correct. It's consistent. It's your bedtime. Now, I mean, bedtime 10 o'clock at night for a 7-year-old, something's wrong. I mean,
Yeah, but you're saying that's a lot better than not having it.
correct.
I'm just, I know there's a little digression, you said that it was actually your side comment was, the trigger this, that a bedtime of 7 o'clock is
Either 10.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock is way too late, but better to set bedtime than no bedtime.
It's too, yeah, oh, okay, I thought you said 7 o'clock was a problem for 7-year-old.
No, 10 o'clock is
You make the
appropriate.
link that was in my head when you said this, but I didn't hear you say it, that might help at least alleviate some of them seeing discord. Was that idea? in
No,
there?
the reason, no, discord will reflect itself in unstable bedtimes.
But if they go to sleep earlier, they'll see less of the parents fighting.
That's what I meant. That's what I was suggesting.
They hear it in their dreams.
Hopefully
It
you
would still
don't
be a
hear. it.
problem, but I didn't know if that's why you brought it up, that
Yeah.
at least it missed some of it, maybe.
So
That's
I-
what you're saying.
Nobody even saved the fighting until after.
Right.
That's sweet.
Okay, 7:05. Put the gloves on, let's go at it. Then the kids are asleep. Yeah, but they don't know the kids are listening to the walls. What's going on now? Oh, there they go at it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other causes of the stresses they cause ADHD and OD, these things, problems in kids, family issues, stresses, not argument, that's just word, just problems. They can't pay the bills. If I can't pay the bills, what am I do? Father's all going out of his mind. He's going out of his mind, stressing. You bring your garbage home, who's picking up the garbage? The kids pick up the garbage. They don't need to hear your garbage. They don't need to hear your garbage. Get a problem, you call someone on the phone before you walk in that door. You don't bring home garbage. Kids hear it, you're insecure. Kids need security. An animal, a horse, by the time a horse is 2 years old, and it can run, it's fine on its own. Kids they're fragile till they're almost 20 years old, they're fragile. And so if they hear the father's really having a hard, and that they can't handle it. Actually, wife can't. It's not your wife here either. She shouldn't bring it home. Wife doesn't want to hear it. Believe me, women don't want to hear the husband's family. They don't want to hear husband's stress. They don't want to hear it. Tell them just, yeah, right. They don't want to hear how hard things are. They say it, they're lying. You don't want to hear it.
Saying the husband should bottle it up, not let it out.
No,
you
no,
called me
not,
up.
not bottle it
Go
up.
to a Bavarian, that's what
For
you're
bringing, share with some friends, you talk with somebody else, write it down, journal it, but don't bring it home.
And one day your kid finds the journal.
It's, don't bring it home. It's. We all know stuff happens in life. It happens. But you bring stuff home to the family, they really,
Well,
they
let me
did,
ask the simple question. Human beings have struggle,
right,
even fathers struggle. They are insecure, they do have financial pressures, they do have stresses. It's unrealistic to expect that they should never be stressed.
No, but
I just think
you
we
show it.
don't show it at all.
Showing it to your
Like, all your friends.
kids, showing it to your
You can
kids.
not show it. If you don't have
No, no,
eventually-
it's,
eventually someone who's stressed out,
No.
often enough.
no, it's not true.
when it comes to children.
I mean,
Depends on the
it
stress.
may seem it's gonna pop.
Right, like you go home and you master and then.
You have to make sure
Some people are better than that.
Depends also how much stress a person has.
Well, how much you can do to work through that stress before you bring it to your house or bring it to your kids.
You said this in previous one, stay in the car.
Yeah,
Before you walk in the house, like, you would cool down.
cool down, go for a
Make
walk.
sure that it's completely out of you before you walk in the house.
And you can do problem solving. You can't bring in struggles and stresses. Okay, I got this issue with my boss, and you can talk to her, she maybe have right insights, how to navigate a situation, that's cool. But come in like so worried, so afraid, so stressed. And it's hard to hold on to it, but to find other resources, and then it's so important to have friends for bring-ins, guys, we get together like we have now, we can talk and share each with what's going on in life, and you begin to see, okay, find a way out. Say, tell them, whatever it takes, find tools, a lot of tools deal with it, with the breathing
There's
exercise.
also, there's a little difference between being stressed and taking it out on the family.
Correct.
right? Like, it's one thing to be stressed and say, hey, I'm stressed.
Right,
But then when you come home, you're like, when you start yelling, right, that's where.
No,
That's-
but if
that's-
you're really stressed though, then you come home and your wife is also really stressed.
It can explode,
So,
yeah.
you
So-
know, even if you're very, have a lot of self-control.
Yeah.
A
It's-
lot of people,
It's just a method.
it depends on the degree of stress too.
Yeah.
100%.
so if your wife
It's
is,
definitely a goal.
if your wife is stressed, guess how much she wants to hear how stressed you are. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely wants to hear it, and 1 does not want to hear it at all, what number do you think it would be at? Yeah.
Your ability to not react in a stressful way has to be even if you weren't stressed, that's a challenging thing to deal with.
Right.
Especially if you're coming in a place of stress. It's like it's a matchbox.
And it is, it's a skill set to learn.
Would it be
So-
okay to come home and tell the kids, no, I'm really stressed out. I need a few minutes with my phone. Would that be safe to say?
I wouldn't use when I'm stressed out. I said, I had a very hard day today. I need some time to relax and unwind.
You're saying that like specifically with the word stress?
Always I'm stressed out. They don't wanna hear that. So I had a hard day, I needed some time to unwind and relax.
That would keep your kids safe.
That kid, it's much better. You have a hard day, you worked hard, things happen, I had a hard day to work, I need to calm down a little bit and rest and then I'll be with you.
Is that also like a pulse really, to show the kids how to cope?
Correct,
And
exactly,
and how to like communicate your feelings.
right.
Like if there's a lot of fetching, it could be like, Happy's had a very long day, if we can try to
Right.
limit the fetching a little bit right now.
We can probably find, but we'll work on that, that's,
No?
no. No fetching, a 10-minute fetch break,
I try.
no
It's gonna
fetching.
work really just for them, they wanna fetch so they can get you warm. And if they're not getting it, they're like, what's wrong? So maybe they kind of like, I'm not responding to you yet because I just not there yet. They'll feel safe, like, oh, they're not like in the unknown. Let's look at a little different perspective. The father's job is provide and protect, protect the home. Keep the home safe as much as possible, safe as possible. Father's job. Kids need to feel safe, wife need to feel safe. You need to create safety around you. Men represent strength, clarity. The goal is to develop a noble character. That's kind of our job.
Yeah.
So when you come, women, if your wife is stressed, you give them a hard time. You gotta be there for them. What if you're going through your own hard times? So we're going through your own stuff in life. What do you do?
Suck it up and deal.
So one part, sometimes you gotta suck it up. Okay, listen, I'll put it aside right now. I gotta take care of my family. Put in a little box, my stress box, put it over here and forget about it. Or you can also write it down, call a friend, but to spill it out in the family will never work. No wife ever appreciates husband coming home and saying, "Oh my gosh, it's so hard." But they don't want to hear the husband whine. No wife ever wants to hear that. Your wife does?
No,
No.
unless it's like a gossipy-esque kind of situation where they want to hear your like business stories of like what happened. It kind of fills their electrolytes, but not to an intense like manner. Just like, oh my God, Sarah said this, and then Mike said that, and they got a whole fight. And I was fine, but like, whew, it was a stressful day. Like that.
That's a funny story.
It's just. It's enjoyable.
Okay, that's right. Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah.
But the idea of coming home and sharing your stresses, no child and no wife ever wants to hear how horrible your day was. If it's an interesting story at work, or it happened, a challenge overcame, or I need some help solving this problem, anything with this problem, okay, that's fine.
You don't think there's like a sort of being too robotic to never share your stress? I mean.
Well, how's it work
is that
out for you
even-
when you
is
share
that
your stuff with
even
your wife?
related?
When you share your stress with your wife, how's it work
I've
out?
never had a negative reaction if I don't do it often, but I'm saying if something like is really bothering me, to share it, I would think it's a positive thing.
No, if you're sharing, no, I didn't, I said, I have a challenge to deal with. Maybe help me give an insight on this challenge. That's great.
I'm not looking for insight, I'm just saying, this is something I'm currently, working on, this is something that I'm struggling with, but I'm working on.
Right, because you're working on something. You're not a victim, you're working on something. That's a good,
Something you're working to overcome.
but most people complain about their stresses. That's
Sometimes
different.
stress comes
So
up.
thank you for, let's redefine this. It's a great point to bring up. Coming as a victim, I'm stressed, I'm on this, blah, 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 blah. They don't wanna hear that. But I'm working on this problem to overcome this issue. I got this thing, I'm working on it. I'm working on this thing. That's encouraging. That shows how a man deals with stuff in life. It's very, very secure feeling. Because you're entering the foray of what's happening in life, and I'm working on this. I'm approaching this not as a victim,
Yeah. I
But as a
feel
hero.
like A man accomplishing.
Right.
something like that.
and that's excellent. That's excellent to show your life, your family had to do that. That's excellent. Like if you're a teacher, oh, the kids, or say, I'm figuring out how to work on these kids. I got a bunch of kids that, I've got an idea. I think I'm gonna give them all chloroform if we walk in the room. Serving scotch before they
I'll put
start.
Well,
Actually, I have a nephew who did, actually, I was interviewed, interesting, he had dealt with a lot of interesting kids.
And before school started, he had them all jumping for 10 minutes before class started. First 10 minutes of class, jump, up and down the stairs, jump, run, down on drums, whatever it is, and they go for at least an hour afterwards. You know what, the kids were great. The next year's teacher had a problem because these kids used to being, getting the energy out, being in the day, and now they could sit still and they were going in their mind. The teacher never got it, other guys never got it. Oh, well. Anyway, so another thing. Another big stressor for kids, a huge stress for kids that they will act out is moving. Move location,
Oh,
moving. Move your house, they're in city, it's very hard. Worse on girls and boys. You know why? Why is it harder on girls than on boys?
Friends, maybe? Socialization,
What do girls do?
chit chat.
They form cliques. And you can't get into a clique. So they will exclude others. It's really weird as the girls are. Boys, you get them in, play ball, whatever, you get into the group, the gang. But girls have much harder time moving, changing locations. This is where the father comes in and showing comfort and being secure. Idea of man, you provide security for family and protection. Now, kids with symptoms of ADHD or ODD. This is more from a clinical perspective. From a doctor or teachers will see this. People dealing with kids who are not the parents. There's a sudden change, a sudden acting out. What are the things you got to think of? It was this before, now it's just something different. And it's a major change and it stays. What are the things that come to your mind? What comes to your mind? Abuse.
I mean, generally, when a kid acts out, the first question is, "Did you eat breakfast this morning?"
Right.
Are you hungry?
Right, that's right.
You ask
But I'm
them.
talking about a consistent change in
Yeah.
personality. Yeah. Get enough rest. We'll get to in a second. As you brought it up, we'll get to in a second. But if the kids have a personality change before it was this, and now it's a behavior is less, all of a sudden, this kid's consistently for days, recently just acting something different. You worry about being bullied or being abused. And it happens a lot more than you think it does. It's really scary. Another cause of ADHD is the food, the breakfast, right? Eat breakfast. But what if they had Honey Oat Cheerios, sugar frosted flakes, sugar bomb, whatever they get? What's going to happen to those kids? Sugar bomb. Yeah, sugar bomb.
Hyperactive.
One of the four. Right, the big four. So now you get another problem. They get you breakfast, but it's lousy breakfast. And something we have to tell the parents, and hopefully I was hoping to talk to a Hanan here about that, about the,
Speaking of that,
okay. But it's very, very important. The food choices are incredibly important. You can watch some of the kids after eating lunch, how they behave before and after.
Birthday parties are always at the end of the day.
Yeah, send them home all sugar bomb. Here you go, mom and dad, here you go.
Like, let's say by an hour or two before school's over, well, anyways, it's winding down. So
Yeah.
just punishing the parent.
no problem.
That's a nut.
But truth of the matter is, are there? That's exactly right. Why is that? Why is that? I mean, you're not joking either. You're serious, I think, aren't you?
That was-
he's
But to give
very
this
fair.
birthday party at the end of the day,
Of course I'm serious.
because,
Because I don't want them acting nuts.
right, because kids that junk food, they become nuts,
Yeah.
right? And keep that in mind. We feed your kids Shabbos cereal, Shabbos treats. By the time Shachar rolls around, how are the kids acting? Whew. What happens?
Yeah, there's many days in school at my kids' ages where they pretend to do like a wedding or whatever. Whenever there's a fake wedding, there's always cake. Then my kids come home all crazy.
Yeah.
Every time it's.
So you can't avoid it, but you can modify it. Make sure you give them protein in the system. Protein and fats
Mm.
help them a lot. Healthy fats and proteins help a lot. Flax oil, olive oil, hemp oil, avocado oil, they're all healthy fats.
We'll do shots of hemp oil.
Eggs,
What's that?
eggs.
Eggs, that's a protein. Right.
But the yolk is
Oh,
also.
Yolks, yeah, eggs.
So you cook it.
Yolks are healthy. Yolks are healthy,
But a healthy fat.
right?
Yeah.
It's healthy fat. The other thing for ADHD, even though it's common, this is the part, this part actually boggles my imagination, ADHD kids. How do ADHD kids, how do they treat them? What medication do they give them?
Adderall, Ritalin.
Yeah, uppers, right?
Meth-
Amphetamines, right?
Yeah.
Not meth.
Methamphetamine, so that.
But not
It's in the meth-
Methamphetamine.
It's in the meth, it's in the family of meth.
I know, yeah, it's not meth.
It is in the meth family.
So. Okay, why do they need amphetamines to function the day? What might they be?
Too hyper.
Tired.
Tired. They're tired. They're going to bed late. Parents who keep stay up late is a treat. It's actually a punishment to stay up late. It's keep late up is a punishment. That's not a treat. If you're gonna wake kid up in the morning, they're tired. They should be, they're not rested. Kids get up, pop out of bed, they're awake, ready to rock and roll. You gotta wake them asleep, but they're, then they didn't get enough rest.
That's why it's used in college for all-nighters.
Well, college, that's a different story here. That's one of the, that's when you have more hormones and brain cells, you can do really stupid things. We can probably take a survey of the stupid things you've done in college and that.
Age of life is so much higher till 25.
What's that?
That's why car insurance is so much higher till 25. right?
Yeah, I try to find your full frontal lobe is made.
More hormones and brain cells. Who wants to share stories? No. I'm not sharing stories.
Not yet.
But fatigue stuff is very, very important. The kids go to bed too late. You gotta wake them up from sleep because they're tired. And then give them a sugar serum in the morning. I mean, they can't function in school. And how do kids act when they're uncomfortable?
Obnoxious, anything.
Nice and hold still, moody, interrupting, getting attention, whatever it takes. And so ADHD and ODD are oftentimes just a matter of fatigue and food. And if there's discord in the family on top of it, your father.
If your kid doesn't jump out of bed in the morning, that means it's like if they're just chilling in their bed, they wake up and they chill in their bed for a bit. That's a problem.
Well, it depends. Now, other reasons why kids are resistant, they could be scared also.
Fully.
No, I'm saying a lot of days my son wakes up and and then could be even for up to an hour, he'll just be babbling in his bed,
That's pretty normal. That's normal. That's
Okay.
normal. Yeah,
But
but
it could be a cortisol problem.
right. Not going there. But the thing is with kids, they wake up spontaneously.
right?
If you have to wake them up, that's the problem. I mean, they're not rested.
Right. You're
If you
saying-
get a good night's rest, you need an alarm clock to wake you up.
Hmm.
No.
If you get it early, get a good night's rest. It'd be easy.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're rested. But if you're tired, you need an alarm clock. You gotta drag yourself out of bed and push. That's the way to live. But some kids live that way as a child. They have the tools to deal with it. And they can't, nothing to help them cope because they're tired.
Waking up and going to sleep before a school trip. Comparatively to waking up and going to school. There's a difference.
Yeah, okay, we'll get, that's true. That's true. You're going to something exciting, you're up 5 o'clock in the morning, and the bus doesn't leave till 8 and for the school trip. Yeah, we know. I know. That's stress. That's stress and fear. Remember the big four?
But see, here's the thing, there's a fine line between excitement and anxiety. And I think the excitement side of it, the positive side of it is keeping you up is the excitement. But no, if you want to, I don't know.
It's true, but
That's your
still,
point, that's your point.
there's still a tendency of the kids wakes up in the morning, is tired, and they're tired. Consistently, they're not getting enough sleep. They're going to bed 9 o'clock at night, and the kid's 8 years old. That's too late. You know, by 7:30. And the earlier they sleep, better they sleep, and they're a different child the next morning.
What do you do if they try to put them to sleep and they're just, I have a 4-year-old. Very curious.
Well, I'll talk about that for a second now, because it's important. You have the same question.
Mhm.
What do the kids that want to go to sleep? What did I say last? What's that? I said, run them.
Okay, you take them out for a walk, right?
Not a walk, a
Run.
run.
Okay.
You run them till they drop. Run them. You have melatonin.
That's it.
Yes.
Give them
The
untold.
only thing safe for sleeping with kids at night is melatonin. The only thing that's safe.
I told my wife, like, if you give them a phone and they stop producing their own.
That's not true. Not true at all.
Is there any concern though that?
There is a dependency. There's
No,
dependency.
what's that?
There's been studies that show dependency on it.
Well, melatonin is more of a psychological dependency, but it doesn't Here's how it
You
works.
think it's a placebo?
Here's how it works. We take melatonin. It's a serotonin is metabolized into melatonin. Right, serotonin is that calming hormone in the brain. That serotonin becomes melatonin. Now, if you're fatigued and tired, if you're tired, you don't produce enough serotonin, therefore you can't produce enough melatonin, and it kind of creates a vicious cycle. We give them melatonin for a few nights in a row, they get the sleep cycles back on track, they'll sleep better afterwards. In adults, taking melatonin, when your body is tanked, you have enough in your system, you start getting weird dreams. Weird, bizarre dreams. That means your melatonin is, you have enough in your system, you don't need it anymore. For kids, generally speaking, when kids are really physically active, they fall asleep because their bodies just can't, and they can relax. But if sometimes kids have melatonin, will not hurt them at all.
Interesting, one of my boys, he at recess will stay inside and read books, will find games, but he's not into sports. He has a much harder time falling asleep at night, but it makes sense.
Right.
He's not very active generally.
I'll say I had a 4-year-old who was very, very hard for us to get to sleep, and we tried the melatonin thing, and then it was like, there was still cycles, we ended up hiring a sleep trainer, and now we do no melatonin, and everything's like very easy now.
What's a sleep trainer?
It's a sleep training. So they basically taught us how to put the child, like child to sleep. So we did it like both of us, and they're like on the phone with us. Okay, like, now what do we do? They're like leaving their beds, and they're explaining like step by step what to do and teaching us how to put the kids to sleep. And we did it with my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old. And like now bedtime, like it was literally like a 2-hour, it wasn't another 2-hour process, like a 20-minute process. Can you do stairs? Can you do stairs? No, I can do the stairs. So now we're off melatonin, so it's made life a lot easier.
Right, that actually is a great idea. Great idea. If you find you consistent melatonin and you get problems, then
Yeah,
the
because
sleep
that was the
trainer might be
problem.
helpful.
The only solution was every single night giving melatonin. It was like, it wasn't we weren't fixing the root problem.
Great. What technique worked, by the way?
It was consistency, showing them exactly like what I would say the crux of it is saying, okay, we'll be back in 5 minutes. This idea of checking, like instead of being with them the whole time, you say, okay, now that you're in bed, I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes. And then you basically, there's like this exponential drop off where you say, okay, now I'm gonna come back in 8 minutes. And that was the big thing, is they know that you're coming back. That was a big thing. There's a whole process with it, but like the main point of the teaching is this, like, they know that you're coming back for them, so they're not stressed or anxious. And then you just do this slow drop off. And like one of the tricks at the first, we stopped doing it, but like at the beginning you do this to teach them to come back, is we're gonna give you a sticker each time. And then like when they wake up and they saw that they missed the last one, they still got a sticker, so they know that you came back anyway.
That's, I like that. Yeah, I've never heard that.
Each time you come back.
They stayed in bed.
No, like, you stay in bed and I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes, and I'm gonna go back in 8 minutes, each time I'm getting a sticker, so that when they wake up.
So if you stay in bed, when I come back, you get a sticker.
Yeah.
That's a great, I love that. I didn't hear that one. That's a new one for me.
And then I know the key is the exponential, like, when we first did it, it was like, we were like back in 1 minute, then it's 3 minutes, and then it's 5 minutes, and then you just keep doing it, and then eventually one of the times you come back, they're asleep.
Be back next Thursday. Put it on the calendar.
Back after the winter.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's like, it's this constant thing of, like, for example, never letting them sleep in our bed, like, it used to be like at 3 AM, they would come into our bed, and I would be like, okay, fine, you're sleeping with me now, but now it's like very strict. We have to drag them, take them back into their bed, and say, I'm gonna come back in 5 minutes and check on you, okay? And it's been so much better.
Oh.
It's the consistency and like being very.
We had a similar thing where also started doing the pop-ins and also being strict about not coming to like our beds and yeah, it's like a different world.
I think it's just being very, very, and this goes with all the parenting things, right? It's when it's consistency that the kids need, like just being very firm with the rule. And like it took obviously a few weeks to get it right. We're like on the phone with the trainer. But like once it was good, it was good.
You're saying much more than that. You're saying that the reason why the kids are jumping out of bed is because they have some sort of fear.
Yeah.
And when you tell them that you'll be there,
The fear gets to them.
right?
So I'm not recording the fear of separation. You're talking back a minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 8, whatever, 10 minutes. You see come back consistent on time, you learn that you're coming back. You give them a sticker each time, they get their sticker, they say they get a sticker. And the last one come in, they're sleeping, you give them a sticker, anyway, they know that you came. I think that's actually brilliant, that's a part that I never had, I like that, I always did the 1, 3, 5, did the 5, 10 minute, but that sticker thing is great. I
And
love
then
it.
I always encourage the people to, I always encourage people like before the kids can read a clock, getting a color alarm clock where it turns the color with a number they can read is like incredible. It's like if they come into the room at like 5, I know that the clock turns green at 6. When they come in at 4, I'm like, what color is the clock? And they're like, okay, I'm going back. Because the clock's not green yet.
Oh,
What
there's
kind of- what kind
a
of clock
colored
do you get?
clock, so when it turns a certain time,
That's the.
green, then
they
they're allowed to
can't
go
leave
to
the
bed.
Clock is green.
so
Well, actually, the night before they choose the color. So like the clock, we was like, okay, what color do you want it to be tomorrow? They're like,
So you set the time and then it
They
just.
said, I already
whatever.
set the time, it's 6 o'clock, is the time that they can leave their until 6 o'clock, they can't leave. So like, they don't know that, they can't read the clock, right, the kids are too young, so you.
It's just the color.
Just the color, it turns green when it's 6.
yeah, that is a great point.
Young fathers.
Great,
Do you
there.
agree with that? That there's a difference between,
No, I'm not claiming.
no, I'm
but-
saying there's a whole different discussion for older kids.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, you can't give them stickers.
then those ones you run, up on the stairs. 10 in time, 20 in time, keep running, oh, okay, 10 more, 5 more
If they
times,
say no,
what's that?
and if they say no,
Actually, they say yes.
I. don't-
Okay, so
I-
so clearly by his question, his kid doesn't.
Oh, okay, your kid, when your child says no. So that comes to another section of that discipline. Because that's a very, very important part. The kids refuse to listen to a parent. That's really important. That's serious. Can listen to a parent,
Isn't that ODD?
not necessarily. I'm not sure the kid's trained.
I'm saying if you're consistent and if you're doing everything right and there's still the time.
Then it could be ODD. It could be ODD. If a child is, no matter what you do, and the right thing, the kid just being defiant, you can't make me. You know, whatever it is, then that might be ODD, then you might have to get evaluated by a professional for that one.
Doc, I know in the previous session you said that, if you're telling your kid he's gotta go to bed while he's in the middle of like smack in the middle of a drill.
Whatever it is, a book, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. It's not fair.
I don't think
So-
the-
I have a problem though, cause that's what
they're-
generally with my older two boys, that's what always keeps them up is they can't put the book down. Like, that's what's keeping them up.
Well, he said, listen, you have 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, get to bed. How much time we want? 5 or 8 minutes to close the book. It's simple. And then they say, well,
But even when I take the book away from them, then they have a hard time falling asleep, because their mind is on the book and.
so then they need to run. Run them, we're gonna run them. Something, just something to get the bodies.
I found this even for myself, one of the ways I got myself to get off melatonin was having harder, like doing more during the day. Or like just having a more intense day, like if I wasn't active enough. Like that was when I really like, can't fall asleep and melatonin, then I like push myself more in the day.
More stimulating and more active.
What about doing push-ups for you?
Whatever, push-ups, sally ups,
You push through.
jumping jacks, run up on the stairs. But if the kids were defiant and refuse to listen to the parent, what happens? They don't listen. The question is actually, here's the key, Ariella, here's the key for ODD versus is it a parent issue? Is there someone else, listen to anybody else? If you listen to somebody, nobody else, there's no authority in their life, and no one can tell them anything,
So let's say it's ODD, what do you do next?
well, then you see it, then you get evaluated by
What
someone.
What happens after that?
He's already evaluated, ODD, next.
ODD? Medications.
So medication works, like you give it in the morning, let's say, and but at bedtime. That's where the problem is.
Okay,
What
so
kind of
then,
medication do they give for ODD?
I don't prescribe ODD, I'm not into that, I don't prescribe for that, it's not my area.
Truth seeking, no.
It would be.
But what I do know about that medication must accompany with therapy.
Mm.
And counseling,
So let's say someone's doing all of that.
and there's still. It's really a problem. That, I guess I gotta take on an individual, that's so complex. It's so complex. Because sometimes, we spoke earlier before about TBI, traumatic brain injury. Brain injuries, Traumatic brain injuries, concussions can have long-term effects with psychological and emotional and psychiatric issues that can last for a lifetime. This person gets a brain fixed. Learning problems, behavior problems, sleep problems, acne, all of them can result of a brain injury. So if nothing else is working, I always look for brain injury. Is there something wrong with that brain? That kid's head get hit, something happened to that child, get the kid evaluated for that. And the kid's been hit, there's a problem, then that has to be dealt with, otherwise nothing's gonna work. Because traumatic brain injury is so serious, you don't get there's 22 bones in the skull, they all move and breathe. They have to function properly, the brain to function properly. Brain is the pulse. If that's somehow somehow affected negatively, then what's gonna happen is the kids can misbehave their entire life in the struggle. They'll always struggle, always.
What type of brain trauma, what type of brain trauma are we talking about? Like,
Anything, it can be something very simple that you don't even think about it. But you look at the kids and have them seen by a cranial therapist or an osteopath, who says, look at the head and so you can see right away if it's a brain injury occurred or not. You can feel that. And it can be anything. It could be, a big common problem. If kids, when they're little, they walk under the dining room table, walk under the table. Just walk straight up. At a certain point, they get old and they go bang, hit the head on the table. Oh, right? Okay, for most kids, not a big deal. But some kids, that gets jammed up, stuck, and don't realize it. I remember a kid one time, I can tell you two interesting kid stories, two fascinating kid stories. One was the first time I saw this many years ago. Woman brought her kid to me. The kid was a train wreck, 13 years old, getting into fights all the time, serious fights, drugs, alcohol, smoking, arguing, fighting. He was a miserable kid. And mother brings him to me and says, can I fix him? I said, I can't do a miracle. I'm not a magic wand, this kid. The father was an alcoholic. He was kicked out of the house for abuse. His mother was he was a compulsive overeater, and she was also in her own what's it called? GAD, generalized anxiety disorder. It was a mess. It was a mess. And so look at the kid. I said, well, what happened to this kid? What happened to this kid's head? What happened? He said, well, when he was 3 years old, the father, when he was drunk, literally kicked him down the flight of stairs. Oh. Treat the kid. By the third time I see the kid, third time I'm seeing him, one comes in as a teacher the note. What drug is kid take? Different kid, different child. What drug is it? What medicine is he taking now?
What kind of treatment are we talking about?
Manipulation, cranial sacral, osteum, work on the head and neck. And he was because he's in pain. He didn't know he was in pain. No pain. A while ago, I remember seeing a little kid who was like 5 or 6 years old and could not walk up the stairs, one foot after foot, and he was always losing his balance. And I remember seeing a kid, I said, look again, why don't the kid's, his neck was stuck, something hit his neck, something got jammed up, and fixed head neck, and all of a sudden he's like walking, he's hopping for the first time in his life, he's hopping. He's running, first time in his life. Because you're going like, yes, look, head's moving. They don't know they're in pain. So kids are acting out this way. You got to think what's bothering them on the inside. Because kids by nature want to please their parents and their teachers. They want to please parents and teachers. That's their nature of children. If they're not doing it, something's wrong.
When I have a daughter, she's extremely emotional. She sees two girls. Now I was talking in the car. So she has two friends in the back, they're talking to each other, and she thinks like they're talking about her. Or like these type of like extreme emotional
That's a perspective. There's a great book. It's called How to Listen So Kids Will Speak and Speak So Kids Will Listen. And how to find out what's really bothering her. That
it could be connected to such a thing also, like
not usually, no. Usually that's a perspective. They don't understand the process.
An anxiety.
Anxiety issue. They heard somebody have a story. Another issue we find in kids, when kids act out a certain way, make really bad choices. What's the story you're telling yourself? What's the story you're telling yourself?
I just want to know if like an extreme emotional kid would have something to do with this sort of brain injury.
It could be. It could. And it depends, if it's just that, that's one thing. But if it's a, what's it called, acting out and always just globally just out of control.
Everything else she's an excellent child.
And this might be the training thing. Now, it is 9:30, it's time for Marv, so we got a minion. So, we'll stop here and we'll pick up after the questions, we'll answer after lunch.
Yeah.